Hashtag no music, no intro. We are back. Adam with Wolf, aka Ryan, and we have a special guest joining us. You know him as the host of the Ross Tucker podcast. You can follow him on social media, at Ross Tucker NFL. Ross Tucker, former NFL lineman who has been in the podcast, social media game, content creation game before content creation was really a thing for quite a while. Ross Tucker joining the Saints Block Party podcast. Thanks for coming on and joining us, man. We really, really appreciate it.
Yeah, it's my pleasure. I don't know if you guys ever heard the story, but I totally lucked out. I retired from football, and I knew Peter King, so I was writing for Sports Illustrated, and then ESPN hired me away. You know, they're just going to pay me more money for the articles I was writing. I was like, okay, cool. And so also, will you host our Football Today podcast? I said, sure, I would love to. This is like 2009, maybe 2010. I had no idea what a podcast was.
Most people
I just knew they were going to pay me money to talk about football. So I was like, sure, I'd love to host your podcast. That'd be great. No idea what I had, like a Droid Razor phone, like, Motorola. I had no idea what a podcast was. Next thing I know, I'm doing that for like 3 years. And then that was doing really well. I was able to go out on my own. But yeah, I like sometimes in life, fellas, you just get lucky. I would not have ever started a podcast to my knowledge. Now, the flip side is, after I was at ESPN for 3 years and I heard about the numbers they were getting and the advertisers, I did think, you know what? Maybe I should do this on my own. I'm kind of building up this audience. So,
Yes.
So it's like anything else in life, right? Like there's a combination of luck and then making the most of that good fortune, I guess,
Right.
Absolutely.
Well, tell me about that, what is it, futurefans.com thing you're doing right now? How's that work? What's that about?
Yeah, so I just invested with those guys. You guys are going to love this, actually. I met these guys maybe a year ago or so. So I don't know if either one of you have kids, but
I do.
It's like impossible to explain to kids how football works. I'm talking about like 4, 5, 6, 7, 8-year-olds. I mean, my daughters are 12 and 13, and just judging by some of the questions they asked me when I took them to the Super Bowl. I do some work for the Eagles, so I took them to the Super Bowl. They're Eagles fans. And judging by the questions they were asking me, I didn't do a great job teaching them about football. Now, listen, I'm a broadcaster, so I'm away every weekend. So that's my excuse.
Right.
But I talked to my buddies, like, they can't – it's not like it was for us back in the day where we all wanted to either sit with our dad or sit with our buddies and watch the game. I don't know if you guys – kids aren't like that. Like, they just want to see the highlights. They just want to be on their iPads. Yep. So these guys realize, you know what? What do kids like? Because they have kids, right? They're Bengals fans, right? So, like, kids like to read, like, stories, books. Like, they like, fun books. And they like to play games. So what these guys did is they came up with basically a storybook-led activity box that explains football. Because a few years ago, when the Saints went to the Super Bowl, when the Bengals went to the Super Bowl, they were trying to get their kids to watch the game with them. But the kid's like, I don't want to. I don't feel like I'll do it next year. Like, no. We're Bengals fans. Like, there is no next year in the playoffs, next year in the Super Bowl. So if you know anybody that has kids, I would say probably ages like between 4 to 10, and you want to get them involved in football. You want them to understand. Most importantly, you want them to sit there and watch the games with you. Like, you want to think about, like, I think this thing is $60 over at futurefans.com. $60 to get your child to actually watch the games with you would be well worth it. So check out futurefans.com. Plus, they got like a 20% discount if you go right now. So futurefans.com for your kids or your nephew or grandkids, whatever.
That's not like my daughter's 15. She has no interest in sports at all, but I feel like had there been something like that when she was in those ages, the interest may have been there now. Now, like, looking back at it, I'm kind of glad that she's not interested in sports, because I was like, Like I don't want to have that emotional baggage of like wins and
Yeah.
losses with the team, but
Yeah, but you do though. You do though. You want to experience that with
experienced,
her. Like
yes,
that's the
yeah,
fun, Like
yeah,
when the Eagles first won the Super Bowl, the amount of people that said like it made them think of their dad who had passed away or their
right,
grandpa because it was their first one ever. I'm sure you guys can relate
yep,
going back to
Absolutely.
2009, but like that it's like you have this bond for
yes,
years and years and years, and then when it finally happens, it's just like
it's like
like
cathartic,
it brings back all
yeah,
the emotions, all the pain, all the
Yeah.
everything. It's
yeah,
also anyway, we all want our kids. I understand your point for sure, but I'll just say this: being in the stands with my girls for the Super Bowl, that was
cool.
cool.
Oh, what
Special.
an
That was really
experience.
cool.
So futurefans.com, definitely check that out. We'll got some Saints things to talk about on this
Yeah.
Saints centric podcast. A big reason we wanted to get you on, we want to preview the 2025 season a little bit, but just looking back, because it's been a very hectic, kind of crazy offseason for the Saints, and it kind of goes under the radar because of where they are for most teams, like most people's power rankings. You were one of the few people in the media landscape that really kind of pointed out with the Derek Carr retirement of pointing out that the amount of money he gave up to retire and kind of gave back to the team wasn't really kind of talked about. And I feel like you were like one of the only people talking about it. Like he could have just went on IR, right? Like what, like kind of like what is kind of really happening? Like why is he giving up this money? And we have a whole bunch of other things to talk about. Like Derek Carr's not on the team anymore. We're kind of looking forward for the future. But I wanted to kind of go back in time a little bit and give you the props because it also went to the reporting that we had heard about what was really kind of going on behind the scenes regarding that whole situation.
Yeah, and it's funny because initially I had like no reporting. It was just common sense as a guy that played in the NFL for 7 years for five
Right.
teams. What was it 25 million maybe? I can't remember the number.
So he got to keep 10 and essentially he gave up like 20, I believe it was, if I
yeah.
remember correctly.
So like that's not a thing, right? like nobody's like such a nice guy that like they're just gonna give the team $20 million back. And if they were, the rest of us as players would be like, "You're gonna do what?" It's like Top Gun when Maverick says he's gonna hit the brakes, let them fly
Yeah.
right by, and Goose is like, "You're gonna do what? You're gonna give the team back $20 million? Like, do you not understand what's going on here?" So, listen, I think if he could have easily, this is just my my best guess is what I'll say. And I'll also say, like, I've heard rumblings or talked to people through the grapevine after this, right? But I think that if he would have just said, hurt my shoulder, going on IR, I want all the money, then there's things that the Saints would have to really dug into, right? And by the way, rightfully so, like, okay,
Right.
well, why did you not report this at your end of the year physical? Number one. Then number two, it's like, when did this injury happen? Did it happen before or after this new contract we signed with you? And then when this happened, were you at the facility? Were you not at the facility? I'll just say this, like, if it was if he hurt his shoulder, okay, at minicamp or OTAs, he would have gotten all the money. He would have gone on IR and would have gotten all the money. The fact that it was like in this weird time between the end of last season and start of this season, and they did a contract renegotiation during that time, that made it a lot murkier to the point where, and by the way, the Saints letting him keep the $10 million, there was some type of conversation there, right?
Yeah.
Like,
Yep.
because it's like the Saints could have said, like, hey, we can go after that 10 million.
10 million.
And
Yep.
Carr's like, well, we can get the 20. Like, you know what? Why don't we do this? Derek looks good. Let's just call it a deal. And I'm okay with that. I'm okay
Right.
with that. But I'm okay with everything that went down. But please don't I don't need like and I love Derek. I like him as a player. I like him as a person. But I don't need all of like, he's the most generous guy of all time. He's giving this money back to the team. It's like, come on, like you know, and I don't know what would have happened if the Saints had to file a grievance and they went at each other. I don't know how it would have ended. Maybe Derek gets all the money. Maybe the Saints get the $10 million back, right? Like, I don't know. But they decided more or less to, like, let's figure this out like as gentlemen. And that's fine.
Yeah, that whole ordeal was just very interesting.
You guys were on it, and some other people were on it after I tweeted that. But there was a lot of people, you know, the reality is a lot of the information people rely on agents to get that information. And so they have to report
relationships, what
the agent wants them to report.
Yep.
Or else the agent won't give them that information anymore. I just don't care. And I'm not I'm not talking to the information people. I'm not talking to agents. I'm just using the powers of deductive reasoning to tell you what I think happened.
Right. Yeah. It was all just very fascinating just to see how all that works behind the scenes.
Yes.
We had Jane Slater on a couple of months ago. She was, real insightful, from the behind the scenes stuff that she sees. Now, as far as the Saints going forward, you were an offensive lineman for years, 7 years. You played with multiple teams. Saints are going into this season really hoping that they finally rebuilt this offensive line.
Yeah.
After investing a lot over the years, a lot of first round picks. You got, they drafted Kelvin Banks this past season. You got Tuase Fuaga, they moving back to right tackle. Trevor Penning, who's been off and on, going through his struggles. They're moving him to guard. How do you see this thing working out? Like, how do you, just from your perspective as an offensive lineman?
We all know the deal with the quarterback position, right? Mm-hmm. So for the Saints to realistically be able to be competitive this year, they need to have an above average offensive line. Like not even just average. Like they need to have an above average offensive line. And to your point, they've got 4 first-round picks and a second-round pick. And by the way, the second-round pick's probably the best of the bunch. Yep. Eric McCoy at center. He's probably the best of the bunch. But I'm not sure, you guys, maybe you've done the research, but there can't be many teams that have invested that much in the O-line in terms of draft pick. Now, the Eagles pay their whole O-line because guess what? Because they're all good. You know, so they pay them all. But in terms of draft picks, to have both guards, both tackles be first rounders, and by the way, all these guys drafted within the last 5 or 6 years, all like in their 20s, all in the prime, like they should not even be above average. Like they should be dominant.
They should be like a top 5
put into that group.
Yeah.
So we'll see. I heard differing reports on Banks. Right? There were people that really liked him. There were people that had some concerns. Obviously, the Saints fall into the really like him category. Trevor at left guard is going to be interesting. I love his play style and demeanor. He just was not a natural pass protector. I think maybe I called his first start at left tackle against the Titans in the opener a couple of years ago.
You sure did.
And it was bad. Oh. But actually, I don't know if you guys remember, my philosophy is like the second time he got beat, it's like, okay, like you got to help him.
Why are we not helping him?
Like slide to him, he can't do it. He can't do it. We know that. That's okay. Some guys can't do it right now. He's not ready or whatever. But for the rest of that game, you need to help him.
Right.
So the interesting thing about that is I have seen the tackle to guard thing. It always seems to go one of two ways. It always seems to go really well or really poorly. It doesn't seem like a guy that's average at tackle goes to guard and is average, right? Like on the positive side, there's some high-profile examples of guys from college to the NFL, like the Zach Martins and Cher from Batonio that are unbelievable players. I'm sure you guys have talked about Robert Gallery, who had some issues as a pass protector at tackle, but became a very solid guard. I would think that that's probably the best comp for Trevor. Interestingly, twice in my career, I was on teams 2002 and 2007 in Washington where they tried to take a tackle, move him to guard, and both times it did not work out. It did not work out. 2002, I think it was Rod Jones. 2007, Todd Wade. And the reason for that is because you're tied in with all of the blitzes. And so things happen so fast inside mentally, right? So those guys were pretty good at the timing and one-on-one pass pro. But inside, it's like tackle, tackle, here comes the linebacker. Like, so I don't know where Trevor's at mentally on, pass protection, blitz pickup, because he hasn't had to do it.
Yeah.
And then the other thing is you're going against a different body type, and they're on you right now. So some guys, they excel at that because there's no longer that time and space, and Trevor can just get his hands on the guy right away, right? He's got length, just jump him, bam, be physical, run block him right there. And that might work. Other guys, they're more used to the cadence or the tempo of playing tackle. So he'll be the key. I feel like what you'll get from McCoy and Cesar Ruiz, who was on the show recently, and Fuaga. Yep. Penning will be the key. I mean, it's a bunch of years in a row where we're saying he's the key on the offensive line.
So many routes. We go back and listen to sometimes or just post our older episodes. And like, I remember I posted one and I listened to it and it was like, we were saying the exact same thing. Like, oh, Trevor Penning
It's the fourth annual Trevor Penning's The Key to the Offensive Line episode.
Last one I have for you. Thanks for giving us this time. This has been great. I mean, every podcast we talk about, we have to talk about this quarterback competition. It's interesting with the Tyler Shuck thing. We are seeing more second round picks getting signed. We talked about this earlier this week of how it's for him. It's so interesting because with the stalemate with the second round picks and the contract and guaranteed money, with him it's so imperative because he is a quarterback and he's in a quarterback competition. Typically, like, when, I don't know, in your experience or just in general, like, when do teams typically know of who they're going to go with in terms of a quarterback competition? Because it's, to me, it's the most fascinating thing that's been Saints related in quite a while with the whole Tyler Shuck and Spencer Rattler competition that they'll have.
The way I would describe that is they almost always have someone that they want to be the starter.
Right. Usually
based on draft choice or financial compensation. They're hoping, and rooting's not the right word, but they're hoping a certain guy's a starter. And what I've seen is that guy's going to be the starter unless it's untenable. You know what I mean? Like, unless it's he's clearly not the best guy. In other words, any tie or anything close to a tie is going to Tyler Shuck.
Yep.
But if during training camp, and especially the preseason games, because we can all watch that. They can fool us in training camp, and they can script things the way they want in training camp. But the preseason games, they can't lie to us, right? So if Shuck is horrendous in the preseason games and Spencer Rattler or Hainer or whoever lights it up, they're going to have to go with that guy at least to start the year. And that wouldn't surprise me because on some level then it also gives them two bites at the apple. Because think of it this way. What they don't want to do is start the year with Shuck and then bench him.
Right.
They're much, much, much better off. If Kellen Moore wants to have two hands to play, right? You start Rattler or Hainer. Hey, if they're playing great, awesome. Let them go. If they're not, then you have bring in Shuck from the bullpen, so to speak. So that's something to watch. You'll start to see during training camp. I don't know how you do it with three guys, if they're in fact really letting all three guys compete. I've always thought because of the fact that they script both the offense and defense. Look, I've seen quarterback competitions where there are certain guys that they're just better at that position when they know there's no chance they can get hit. And I'm not going to say names, but it's just true. Like,
Yeah.
think about anything else in life. Like right now, you guys doing this podcast, which is super popular. Do you think you'd be as good if there's a chance every 10 seconds one of you gets smoked in the ribs?
Absolutely not.
I mean, you'd
No.
kind of be like this. Well, guess what? When you're in a training camp practice, they can't hit you. You
Right.
can't get smoked. You go in the game. Now the ribs that like now that's not off game, right? So I think there's a lot of flaws in quarterback competitions. One is that you can't hit them. The other is there's so much less practice time than there used to be. I mean, I go back to Marty Schottenheimer 2001. It was 3 hours, 2 practices each, full pads for 12 days, killing each other. Nowadays, these guys, like, I go to these practices, take an hour and 15 minutes. I'm like, that's it? Like, that's all they're doing? So there's a lot of reasons that make it hard to have a quarterback competition. So the best way I would describe it is they're going to go into it based on the spring with sort of preconceived notions or an ideal of how they'd like to see it play out. And then the only way it doesn't play out that way, in my opinion, no matter what they say publicly, in my opinion, is if it's so obvious to people watching and to the players that they can't go with what they wanted to go with.
Yeah, it's going to be so fascinating. I can't wait to see it play out. I know we're running up against it. Only thing I wanted to bring up, I always thought was funny. A couple years ago, you made the accidental. I don't know what you want to call it, but I remember
Taysom Hill comment?
No, it wasn't that. It wasn't. Well,
Oh,
we got a couple. Didn't
Were you the one?
still
Were you
to
the
this
one that
day
had my
was
back,
on the money.
Ryan? Were you the one, Ryan? Were you the one that
did.
had my back on the Taysom
Yes.
Hill?
I did.
Yes.
I did have.
So, dude,
I did
I'm
have
just
your
saying
back
this.
on
I'm just saying this. I wish I would have included all around, or I think my comment was Taysom Hill's one of the best football players I've ever seen. Okay,
Yeah.
I think I wish I would have said like
all
one of
around,
the best
yeah.
pure football players or all around football players. Can we
But,
say
like, I
one
know
of
what
the
you
best
meant.
football players? They want to compare him to Tom Brady or whatever. Here's my point. Okay, there's a bunch of things a football player can do. They can run with it. They can tackle. They can throw. They can punt. They can whatever. Right? Like if Tom Brady and Taysom Hill played one-on-one football, Tom Brady would be dead in like 5 plays. He'd be dead on the field, dead, over. Right? Like so. Taysom Hill is not as good of a quarterback as Tom Brady. Okay.
No,
Right.
Tom Brady wouldn't even be able to start for a high school team at like fullback, tight end, linebacker, be on the kickoff team, on the punt return team. All the crazy things that Taysom Hill can do at the NFL level. I worked my whole life to be able to play O-line, right? For him to be able to excel in doing everything a football player can ever ask to do, it like blows my mind away. But that wasn't even what you're going to say, Ryan. Sorry, go ahead.
No, amen. I'm glad you brought that up because I appreciate it.
Because then you post like highlights that were just like Taysom killing it, and I loved it.
Like what do you guys want? I was bringing up. I think you picked the Saints to go like 8-9 one year. I think it was like 2022 or 2023, and you're like, "I gotta go 8-9." And you got lit up by Saints fans.
Oh,
having the
yeah.
audacity to say they'll win 8 games. I just thought that was hilarious.
Wait,
It
were they
just
mad
shows
because he only said 8 games? Like
only 8
underselling?
games. It was underselling.
Yeah, and what they win 7? It was Derek's first year.
Yeah,
It was 2 years ago. What were they?
yeah. I can't even remember. I don't.
They won 9 games.
games. I think they won 9.
It was 9.
Won
They
9
went on that
games.
little.
Oh,
that
I
little
was
heater.
way off. I blew it. I choked.
That little
Like,
heater.
we're going 13-3. What are you talking about?
Hey,
Like,
you know what though? In all sincerity, that's every team, dude.
yeah,
Like every team, no matter what I say, like, so I'm asking my honest opinion. And so
Right.
I'll give it. And especially if I'm on some other team's podcast or whatever, they all think their team's at least 2 games better than I think they are, right? And the thing is like the Saints win total at Vegas was like 8.5. So it's not like that. It's not like I'm like some crazy notion, right? But that's okay. That's why they're fans, and that's why this time of year is great because they should be optimistic. They should be excited. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I like I prefer guys like you who are die-hard realists.
Right.
Is how I would describe it.
That's a
Die-hard realist.
perfect term.
Nobody loves the Saints more than you guys, but you love them so much that you will call out their faults or call out their mistakes, which, by the way, to me, just makes you even a better fan because it allows me to then appreciate when you are saying something positive. Because
Right.
I know it's not just a homer, everything's great, everything's positive. Mickey's never done a bad contract. Kellen Moore is the greatest coach of all time. Like if all you ever do is positive, then we know you're full of you know what. Whereas
Exactly.
you guys, since you give the negative and the positive, when I see you guys do positive, I know it's legit.
Right. I appreciate that. Because people seem to think the exact opposite. Ross, it's been a pleasure. Thank you so much for coming on. We finally made this happen. We definitely look forward to hearing you call more games this upcoming season. And what a glow up and just the growth it's been for you since your post career. We definitely can't wait to see you continue on your journey. Y'all, our viewers, our listeners, make sure you check out Ross, the Ross Tucker podcast. Make sure you check out Ross on social media, Ross Tucker at Ross Tucker NFL, and also futurefans.com. Ross,
Awesome.
appreciate you, man.
Thank you, fellas. Keep up the great work.
Thanks,
Appreciate it,
Ross. Really appreciate you.
Awesome. Thank you, dude. See ya.
Have a good one, man.
All right. Appreciate it.
Y'all, that was our episode with Ross Tucker. We will be back probably next week, because next week is training camp, bro.
Training camp, bro.
There have been 2 more second-round picks signed. The Niners signed their second-round pick, defensive lineman, and the Bears signed their second-round pick too. Not a fully guaranteed contract for both those players. So
Interesting.
We'll see what happens with Tyler
We'll
Shuck.
see.
We'll see. We'll see, bro. Oh, there's another one signed. That was Rasheed Rice. Anyhow, great stuff with Ross Tucker. Tremendous stuff. We will be back next week when the Saints kick off training camp. And with that, we are out.
Peace.